me on all social media platforms on The Block with Jen. Lily, let them know where to find you.
I'm Lily of YB Limited. That's the letter Y, the letter B, the word limited. And you can find me here on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. That is spelled the letter Y, the letter B is in boy, the word limited. YB Limited. And that's it.
Very nice. And I am Saint. I am no saint. I am Saint No Saint. You can find me Saint No Saint on YouTube, Saint No Saint on IG, but just No Saint on TikTok. I'm pretty new to TikTok and I haven't figured out how to change that yet. But Saint No Saint. There you go.
All right, you're getting there. You're getting it. If you want to support the show with a Cash App, I love getting Cash Apps when I'm not on air because you caught the replay. Feel so appreciated. You can do On the Block with Jen Cash App. Buy me a smoothie. Buy me a smoothie. It is scrolling there on the bottom. Or if not, you want a super chat, feel free to throw some coins at us in the chat and we'll pull your comment up. Also, everyone's welcome to cam up. Seriously, truly, madly, deeply, you are welcome to cam up and hang out with us on the screen and rebut, retort, contradict what we're saying. If you disagree, we welcome it. Just don't be a bitch and go cry in the car. We don't like those type of people here. Okay.
Mm-mm.
You come up here, you say it with your chest, and then you go cry in the car or do a review video. You little bitches that try to start static for content. We don't like you here. Now, if we love having great dialogue and conversations, and this is not an echo chamber. If you watch On the Block with Jen, have different backgrounds, we have different opinions. Okay. No Saint is a lot more liberal than I am. All right. Way bigger heart. I'm off with their heads, and you're like, no, let's leave their heads on. So we're all different here, and if you're different, you have a different opinion as well. Feel free to come up. We do faces only. If you want to come and hide behind your avatar, you gotta pay for that. Sorry, that's what it is. If you want to come up here for free, show your face. If you want to come up here behind the avatar, gotta pay. Throw some chips into the super chat, and we'll bring you up. Okay, that's just how it is. That's the penalty for wanting to hide. Okay, you gotta pay to hide here. No Saint, we can't do anything with that link. You threw it in the private chat. You have to throw it into the comments.
I did throw it in the comments. I don't know if you can highlight it or stick it anywhere. That's just the StreamYard, though. This after show is going to be on my channel, Saint No Saint, and I can always throw it in that chat as well.
Yeah, throw it in the chat, or people will not know what to click on or where to go because your channel is kind of hard to find. Like when I throw No Saint in there, I get like a lot of other shit. I get music, I get artists, I get a lot of other stuff. So
not until you start using it more and get more followers, and they'll start putting you up at the top.
Right.
Because I can find my own channel for a minute.
Same with me. Like I way in the beginning, years ago, I used to throw in On the Block with Jen, and Jennifer Lopez kept fucking popping up.
Right.
Not a bad affiliation, but it wasn't me. So the more I used YouTube, the easier it became to just throw On the Block with Jen in there. Tonight's gonna be a spicy topic. It's gonna be short, hot, and sweet. Because I'm gonna ask, is it a black thing? Is it a black thing? What am I talking about? Flash mob robbery. Most recently in Los Angeles are the ones that are getting the most press because there have been 3 in the past couple weeks. 50 Cent took to his Instagram and said, I told y'all Los Angeles was finished. But like any other city, there are 2 different worlds. You got Calabasas and Beverly Hills, and then you got a Skid Row where there's a large population of homeless people. And the Californians, the government out there is like, well, that's what happens here. And it's so crazy because Hollywood is like land of dreams and celebrities and millionaires. And Skid Row looks atrocious, absolutely atrocious. So bad it just looks like a community, like it's the normalcy. It's like the community, like any other.
When was the last time you seen it?
Not in person. I've seen it online.
Okay, so I saw it back. Okay, let's say like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing it on television or online does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it in person is unbelievable. Like you think it's unbelievable seeing it on TV and online. It is unbelievable. Okay. Came back last year, 10 times worse. So the fact that so many wealthy people live there per capita, and to see that much homelessness, and it wasn't just the homelessness, it was the mental illness, it was the
Yeah.
people with one limb, people with dead limbs, just rotten, literally rotten flesh, in a wheelchair pushing with this one arm and this arm's falling off. Like,
I
I mean, you
saw
can't
that.
make this up.
I saw that on a video because they have a new flesh eating drug out there, and it was horrific. And these people are walking around with gaping wounds, gaping down to the white meat and the
Yeah,
bone, and they're out there homeless. That's is that your YouTube
I'll
page
find the
Yes,
also?
link. I'll find the
Yep.
link because
Yeah,
she,
you got
yeah,
to
it's
throw
got
the
to be
I'm
on
link
looking
there.
in
for
there.
it.
Okay, so we'll get it together. Thank you for being here, you guys. Hold us down in the chat. Let's get into this. Now, when I asked the question, well, let's play the like Lily says, the bean footage.
I think I found it.
I do have a video. I'm going to play the video because I want to get right into this conversation today.
Mm-hmm. I found the
And
nose thing.
brand, you guys ready for the video? Or are we still setting up for no
Uh-huh.
saying?
I'm
Okay,
ready.
okay. So let me grab this
Thanks, Lily.
video.
Mm-hmm.
I just to fill in the empty noise here. I did order a background today, so
Oh.
Great.
sometime next week I should have a background.
Awesome sauce.
And listen, no, YouTube is such haters that I had to approve No Saint's link when he posted it.
Oh.
You should have put I'm white. Here's my link.
I should have held my card up.
Yes.
We all
You
saw
gotta
that
get
in action.
yes. You use that white privilege card, babe. I'm not
Yeah.
mad. Yeah. There
All
was
right.
a bit. Oh, go ahead. Go.
All right, guys. Welcome in the room. Hit that like and subscribe for me. Don't forget you can super chat and also support the show. Cash App on the block with Jen. Maddie, who says looks like a bunch of Trump white supremacists.
Mm.
Who does? Hold on. He just reminded me. Let me put this on subscribers only.
He's probably looking at the thumbnail.
I need to learn how to do that. Subscribers only.
Yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn that too. I wouldn't recommend you do it right now. No, Saint.
All right, I need all the help I can get.
Right, you need the activity.
Mm-hmm. Well, Joe, does that mean you're happy? I'm not understanding.
You
I
gotta
don't know what that
elaborate,
means.
darling. You got to elaborate.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Joe. We really appreciate that. I don't know what we're going to do with that information, but we are really happy for you.
Oh, congratulations! I love that for you, Joe. He's gay.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Welcome.
love it.
All right, so it's on subs only. All right, guys. Welcome. Let's get straight into this. Oh, almost dropped my protein. Let's get
Uh-oh.
into this. And I haven't swallowed in a while lately, so I need more protein.
Right, exactly. This is serious stuff.
I need it where I can get it. You know what I'm saying?
The skin and,
Mhm.
the coat the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
all that
right.
good stuff.
We're here all week, folks. Let's play this video, and then we're gonna dissect. You're gonna get offended tonight because I'm gonna say some shit. So prepare to be offended, okay?
They like being offended.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna offend some people tonight. Hopefully, they'll clip this and then go review it somewhere and cry about it. So this is what's been going on in Los Angeles as well as other states, but it's been happening most often in Los Angeles in very high-end stores. Here we go. Oh wow.
Wow.
It makes you wonder why we pay for anything. I'm like, all we gotta do is like go in and grab it. Why the fuck am I paying hundreds of dollars for shit? I could just go in and grab it. So let's play it one more time for shock value for anyone who's just walking in. So that was Nordstrom's, but it's been happening at stores like Gucci, Apple. People just run in and just rip things off the shelves and run out. Pretty wild, pretty wild. You don't want to be in the middle of that, right? You want to be in the middle of that. So before I ask the question I'm about to ask, listen to this very clearly. Yeah, because I'm going there. I want to know, is this a black thing? The flash mob robberies, are they a black thing? Every flash mob robbery I've seen, it is black people. Now, listen to this for you slow people, okay? That is not to say that only black people commit crimes. When you look at the mob, it's Italians, right? And they're Italians. They're not black or Latin. They're Italians. And they are a mob of criminals, right? That's what the mob is. When you look at, say, the Irish, or you look at the government or corporate America or the stock market, a lot of those dudes are doing white collar crimes. There are a lot of criminals in our government. However, when we talk about, let's say, another demographic, be it Latin, be it Italian, any other, right? With the exception of black people, when you talk about black criminal activity, it's like, no, you're not supposed to talk about black people committing crimes. Slavery, after all, right? Oppression, after all. White supremacy, after all. You can't talk about black criminals. How dare you? They're exempt because of slavery and oppression. Merc, right? I say fuck off. We can talk about it all. We could, if I can talk, we can talk about the mob. We can talk about white collar crimes. We could talk about Puerto Ricans stealing hubcaps. We could fucking talk about y'all too. Okay, no one is exempt on the block. However, this particular subject right here, we're talking about flash mob robberies, right? So, what do you think? I beg the question on the thumbnail: who's at fault? Is it oppression? Is it black culture? They're not robbing the $10 store I shop at. They're robbing high-end stores, Apple and Gucci and Fendi and Prada, all the stores that are they put a lot of emphasis on, right? That are a big deal in disenfranchised communities. So I'm going to pass the mic. I'm not going to do a monologue. I just want to hear from my fams. What do you think when you see these flash mobs and they're happening more and more and more often?
Well, prior to this, I remember. Do you remember when they were doing it with the hair weave stores?
Yes, I saw that.
That was really big for a minute, right? And yeah, I only saw people who look like me committing those crimes, doing the smash and grabs, the mobs and stuff like that. I personally, I've only seen that with this particular crime.
Hmm.
Um, what I think it is, Shantae, she touched on it a little bit. And a lot of it does have to do with keeping up with the Joneses and trying to keep up with social media. Because think about it, right? Since social media has, or specifically Instagram has
Hmm.
blown up, right?
Hmm.
It's all about look at me, look what I can afford, look what I wear. And you remember when like the Housewives and Love and Hip Hop came out, it was new and it was fresh because we got to watch these wealthy people live in their element. But then
Hmm.
somewhere along the line, Joe Schmo, John Q. Public started to try to emulate those people and live like them. And that's one of my theories of why those shows are not as popular as they once was, because we look at them now like we live just like you now. Like we
Right,
doing the things that you're doing, whether we can afford it or not, because half of
right,
them can't afford it. So I feel
right.
like there's a lot between reality TV, the economy, but I won't even put that. And I'm putting the economy on the lowest end because economy crimes look a little bit different. Economy crimes are grocery
Absolutely,
store. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying? That's gonna look like a grocery store. That's gonna look like a pharmacy for some like whatever, like some formula for the babies and some diapers
absolutely.
and stuff. That's what that's gonna look like. It's not gonna look like Gucci, Prada, Apple, the uniform,
Let's be
right?
clear. Let's be clear.
It's not going to like that. So, economy, that's on the lowest of the totem pole. But I really want to take it out of the equation. But if I'm going
Hmm.
to put it in, it's at the last lowest of the totem pole. It's more so of trying to keep up with appearances, because you know how it is with the younger people. They wear something once on social media, they don't want to be photographed again. To
Right.
the point where people on social media will, if you do a job like we do, they will call out, didn't you wear that before? Yes, bitch, I wore it before because I bought it before.
Right.
right? And you're going to see it again. How about that? Okay.
Right.
So I feel like it's a lot of that going on. It's that what my mother calls niggerish behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what she was always distinguishing and trying to keep us from. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's black people, and then those people that happen to be black. We're not them, and they aren't us.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no business acting like that because you come from this type of home. We do it like this, blah 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 blah. Um, but I just look at when it comes to like that type of degenerate crowd in that happens to come from the black community, the
Mm-hmm.
priorities are just off.
Mm-hmm.
Like the priorities are off. Like I could understand if it was the baby formula and stuff like that. I can understand that.
I
I'll
can
turn my
understand that
head.
too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll turn my head and be like, oh, well, child, the economy's bad, so hey, well, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Kumbaya himself. No Saint, what say
Hmm.
you? Should those people run in there and get those Gucci bags because they're disenfranchised and their Apple phones?
Well, listen, I think this is what we call the pendulum swinging too far in one direction. What I mean by that is we've now cultivated a culture of non-compliance. We've let people pretty much know that if they steal under a certain amount, it's not going to be prosecuted. It's emboldened people that may not take that opportunity to say, well, hell, if I'm not going to go to jail, if they're not going to prosecute, I'm going to go get free stuff. It's like a crime of opportunity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to look into, because I know we see what you're showing. We see
Mm-hmm.
that what the people look like in this video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, I know when, I don't know if it was Katrina or after Katrina, but I know they
Mm-hmm.
showed like black people as being like looters and the white people as being trying to survive. So I know there's narratives like that out there. I don't think this
Mm-hmm.
is the case in what you just showed. But what I
Okay.
know is that if people think they can get away with something, white,
Mm-hmm.
black, Latino, uh, people are, there's going to be certain people that are going to do it. I don't think it has anything to do with color of the skin. But yeah, I think we have a culture of non-compliance, and it's swung way too far in that direction. You're seeing it nationwide. Crime has gone up where we have prosecutors saying that they're not going to prosecute certain crimes. And so
Mm-hmm.
what happens? Those crimes go up. And one
Mm-hmm.
of them is, and especially in California, I know it was happening in San Francisco where people are smashing into stores
Mm-hmm.
and looting. And I mean, I don't know what you're going to expect when you say you're not going to prosecute certain crimes.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Oh, my Vegatron says, "Eat the rich." I tuck my chain in now.
No, it's
Um,
real. It's
Shit, I've been
real.
tucking my chain in since the '90s, honey.
Turning your Ringo, inside out. Come on now. What?
Yes, yes, yes. Shantae says, pull up the FBI stats before we make assumptions. What's the stats say? Let's deal in facts. The facts are, when I was doing this research, different media houses on YouTube, I was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to find a video, and all the mobs were black. That's just it. I don't know what the FBI is saying about flash mob robberies, but I was scrolling so I could grab a quick clip that didn't have a news reporter speaking over it. And that is what I saw. The mobs were black. The ones, robbing Apple, Gucci in the malls, they were black. I don't know if that makes you feel uncomfortable, but if it makes you feel uncomfortable, I will say this. It is because you are still insistent upon being part of this black community. Okay, you are insistent upon it. So when anyone black does something that's degenerate, you feel hit in the ribs. That's the only thing I can explain. See, if I were to see a mob of Puerto Ricans doing some shit and the news threw them up, I don't feel any sort of injury. I'm not like, oh my God, I don't give a fuck. They are not me. I am not them. But black people, they are insistent upon, we are a community and we are a monolith and we are one. So when you see a flash mob like that, you feel a ways. You feel offended. And that's because you insist on making yourselves one big community. So you have to deal with the backlash. I always say separation is key. Every ethnicity and race does it.
And
Every
animals.
and animals, every single one. In the animal kingdom, they eat the weak or leave them behind. You want to hold on to the ankles of the weak, the most degenerate of your community.
Have right
Oh,
at it.
oh well, but you can't have it both ways. You can't claim excellence and then claim, "Oh, we're not the degenerates." You can't have your feet on both sides of the line. You can't ride the fence, and this is what happens. This
It's
is what happens.
dangerous. It's dangerous for people like myself, who don't participate in that type of stuff. Like, that's where the stereotypes come from, right? That's where
Correct.
those expectations. That's where, oh my God, I'm walking in the store. Why you keep following me,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because of things like this being put in the media, they assume, and then when we defend it, then they're like, okay, well then all of y'all like that then,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It's so, and which is not the truth. It's just not the truth. There is no community that is a monolith, and
None.
so that is so dangerous. See, this is how I look at things. When I look at communities and stuff like that, I tend to shut up as long as the positive outweighs the negative. One, um, if I'm still benefiting from it. Two, because who would fool will say something if they're still benefiting off of something.
Hmm.
And and that's mostly when I say I shut up. But then when I see the pendulum and the scales tilt to this way, like when it just becomes dangerous to be associated with a certain demographic, that's when I have to speak up and say, hey, I know I may look like this, but we're different, right? There's people like myself who just want to work and mind their business and go home and stay out of prison. And then there's people who are willing to take penitentiary chances. And I've been on both sides.
Hmm.
I've been on
Hmm.
both sides.
Same.
So yeah, so I mean it's not coming from a place of judgment or looking down. It's just coming from a place of reality. When I was on that other side, it wasn't shit you could tell me to stop me.
Hmm.
It wasn't. I was going to do it. And if you was in my way, I was gonna get you too.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and I know how, the criminal mind works. So I'm not gonna like my mentor used to say, I'm not gonna defend the I'm not gonna what is it, protect the guilty.
Mm.
Not at my expense.
I'm glad that you brought up it being dangerous, Lily, because it's like, as women of color, when these things go on and on and on, and they're defended, and people give them a pass, guess what happens when we go in a store and we actually have the money to pay for shit, right? So let's not pretend that that happens either, that we get the brunt of it, and we could be innocently walking in there with a wad of cash, and maybe I want this bag, maybe I want this. We get followed around, okay? We get harassed. We get, because when this happens, the community, no, it's this, it's the economy, it's this, it's that, and the third. You keep excusing the behavior, you're going to be connected to the behavior. And again, no other, I'm keep saying it, no other race or ethnicity does that shit. Okay? White people are quick. They will throw their own mama into traffic if it means she's going to fuck something up for them, their company, their money, or whatever. We've seen it happen over and over again. So I still do not understand. I'm always going to stress separation.
Well, I'm happy to see some things changing though. In the black, the pro black conscious spaces, because we were the first ones that I heard saying that, like, a separate at this point a separation is needed, and people went in on us. They called us everything under the sun, right? Other than what our parents named us. Now I'm seeing the conscious pro black community that's here on YouTube and stuff, and people that people look up to, they're saying the same thing now. I
Hmm.
mean, it's at this point, cognitive dissonance has to be playing a role in anyone who is still aligning themselves or not speaking up or defending degeneracy in our community. It's not helping. Who benefits from it? Let's just be real. Who benefits? Because that's what I ask myself before I do things. Like I said, I question before I say something, right? And I'm like, okay, if I don't say something, who benefits? If I do say something, who benefits? Right?
Right.
So if I don't say something, not only does no one benefit, but innocent people have to pay for stuff like this.
Correct. And that's the real issue where most people, the retort would be, well, white people enslaved us and white people robbed too, and white people, the point is, when white people do all that crime, even white collar crime, we don't get fucked in the store because of it. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
Right? This conversation does not mean that every other race and ethnicity on the planet can be criminals. That's not what this conversation is. Though people will take it there, right? Because they
Mhm.
want to excuse the degeneracy because someone who has the same complexion that they do. People love bringing up proximity. Someone who looks like you is more than likely to take your life, rob you, or fuck you in the ass or fuck you over.
Mhm.
Pause.
Yeah.
No Saint, what you got?
Well, I think what Lily said, as far as the conscious community goes, is exactly what happened. The people that were trying to uplift the community were getting torn down by people that their own people. And so eventually they were like, they came to an epiphany like, F you, we got to get, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I've seen it as well. Yeah, being on here more and more, I understand because I put myself in those situations too. Like, well, what do I think if it's somebody that looks like me and I don't care? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're a degenerate, then I'm separating myself from them. So I can't sit there and criticize, you know, Lily or Jen for saying this because I do the same thing. You
You said
know,
you do it
um,
when you go out, overseas, right? When you see Americans.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. So I understand where you're coming from. The sad part is what the commenter was saying. I kind of understand as well. Is she's feeling a certain way because she is getting blowback from, just like you're saying, Jen. She's getting blowback from that, and she wants to just spread it. Well, it's not just, let's see the statistics.
Mhm.
Are people framing it a certain way just because, she wants to know. I don't
Mhm.
have an answer because, like you said, I didn't check the statistics.
Mhm.
We're only seeing this on what you're saying is you're only seeing it coming from one direction.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm. And let's be clear that, I mean, I
Can
don't need an FBI stat to tell me that disenfranchised communities, it is the majority. You know, the stat everybody likes to throw around, 90%. Let's throw one out for shits and giggles. Yeah, yeah. 90%, even more, even higher than that. The people that are obsessed with looking like they have money and don't are black and Latin, and you could come at me, bro. I grew up in that. Okay. I grew up all around that. I grew up around drug dealers and people that wanted to rap. And we see the rappers and this and that. Half these guys have no money, but they have hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry, in clothes. Okay. Because we come from poor backgrounds and poor neighborhoods. And what do we want to do? We want to show people we have money. How do we show people we have money? By buying shit off white people, by wearing, white labels, French and Italian, everything but black and Latin bars. Okay? That is what we do as blacks and Hispanics. That is what we do. That is why those particular stores are getting hit. And where do you think they're going to sell those items? On Rodeo Drive? No, they're going to sell them in Watts. They're going to sell them in the South Bronx. That is where those items are going to be sold hot off the back of the truck.
you
So
know
are we
what?
gonna keep denying this shit?
It's a couple of things both of you just said that kind of, ignited something. First of all, how many times we've seen a black or Latin person start a clothing line, is usually a t-shirt line, whatever, and or or a
No more
clothing line.
t-shirts.
No more t-shirts, please, you all. No more. And then they are complaining about who's not supporting them in the community.
Yes.
But let's back up, sir, ma'am. Prior to you wanting to start something, who were you wearing? Were you supporting a black or Latin
Oh.
designer?
Oh.
Because that is a thing in our community. It is. Like we will, like especially when I was living in Atlanta, that was one of the things that irked the living fuck out of me in Atlanta. The amount of perpetrating, and I used to work with a lot of reality stars doing their makeup back when I was a makeup artist. And what I noticed about a lot of them, and Atlanta's chocolate city now, so I got to see this in abundance.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which is one of the reasons why I didn't want to be around this energy all the time. But
Mhm.
what I would see is people who would spend their money, their hard earned money, all of it, trying to look like they have more money than they actually have, trying to keep up with the next person beside them. And I remember someone saying to me when I moved here and they came over to my apartment, and they were like, "Oh, you got a nice place." They was like, "But you know what's going to happen. You're going to start moving up in the industry, and people start inviting you over their place, and you're going to start look, and you're going to come back to your place, and it's not going to look as nice." No, that's how you think. That's not how I think. I live within my means. As a matter of
Mhm.
fact, I live below my means because I never know what's going to happen, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that is a real thing in our industry. And the other thing that No Saint said is so true that, um, and we've had this happen to us on here. No matter if you challenge our communities, the Black and Latin communities, to do better, to want better, to think smarter, to all of that, you will be attacked. No matter how sweet you say it, you can bring Jesus and have him say it next to you. Y'all can say it, sing it together in a hymn. Like, no matter how you deliver the message, you will be attacked by who?
Your own people. Your own people. Oh, Jesus would have died in a drive-by by now if he
What?
lived here. If he
He would
was
have never
running
made it to
around
that
here.
cross. Yeah, he would have never
Um,
made it to that cross.
He did. He got crucified. What are you talking about?
Nah,
Of
he wouldn't even
course.
made it that far,
I
is what
said
I'm
if he
saying.
no,
The
I'm
narrative speaks for itself.
no, I'm saying if he was around today, if he was around today, it would have been the same shit. Um, so welcome, Brother Ish, to the panel. YouTube Press says, I don't even think it's so much that even. I feel it's pressure to fit in. The same reason I wouldn't turn down stupid stuff as a team fitting in. I beg to differ because fit in with who? Like in the ghetto schools of which I attended many, no one there was wearing Gucci fit but us, right? So it's not like I was in a school in the ghetto and the white kids were walking around with the fashion, high end fashion. And when you go to all white schools, those kids are wearing Vans. They're usually dirty. They're wearing sweats. They're wearing t-shirts. They are not dressing the way kids in the ghetto dress. Like, come on, let's keep it 100 here. When you look
Well,
at kids, they don't dress like that. So
let
who are
me
we,
let me
who are we trying to keep up with?
let me challenge that a little bit. And having did that, and mind you, mine was a different era, but there was, during my era, the whole concept of being preppy was the look, and they were wearing Ralph Lauren, they were wearing Isaiah Lacoste, and they were wearing Vans, and they were wearing OP shorts. That was a whole thing. But that
Agree.
Okay.
was the kind of iconic logos in their communities where that had a different price because the challenge for us was at that time we were getting into guests and that whole thing, and so that price variation was much higher. So it was similar but not, but we were still
Your connection is crap.
our issue. But
Can't hear you. Your connection is crap.
wow, okay, how about now?
Go ahead, talk. I can't tell till you talk.
Okay, so is this a little bit better now or no?
Yeah, just keep talking. I'll wave at you when it's
Okay,
not.
right. Okay, so ultimately, it was, they still had their kind of quote unquote designers, but the price points were lower. So it wasn't a situation where we were going for guests, they were going for OP, or they were going for Izod, and at the time it wasn't as high, but it still was different than what was, if we were living in our means, we would be wearing Pro-Keds and Levi's and things like that. So
So I'm
that's
trying.
the
I'm trying
that's
to.
a
I'm trying
different
to understand.
dynamic.
I'm trying to understand because you lost me. So you're saying in those schools, the white kids were running around with the Izods and the what Lacoste, and the black and brown kids wanted to fit in with them, so they started wearing Guess. I'm confused.
Yes. So they would go with Guess because Guess was a higher ended brand, and they wanted to kind of step it up a notch. And that's in my era, that was the thing. You know what I mean?
So
So it's
then
like,
okay,
okay,
so
I
then
got
you're
to have a
saying
pair of Guess jeans or Jordache
okay,
shoes.
so okay,
It
so
sounds
then
like
you're
you're proving
saying
her
that the
point.
right. So then you're saying that the black and brown kids wanted to look like they had more money than the white kids who could actually afford the clothes. Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying, but they still had the white kids still had their kind of branded logos and their branded identities. They just were in the price points that were within their range. That's what I'm
Okay,
Leave.
that's
saying.
the point I was about to make because, like, I went to school. I went to a very mixed school, and when I say mixed, I'm talking about races and stuff, but I'm also talking about incomes, right?
Hmm.
And Jen's point is so perfect. Like the ones that came from the lower income had the higher price point clothes, right? And then the kids with the dirty ran over sneakers. When I would go over to their houses, I was like, "Damn, y'all living like this."
Right.
Um, their car was always modest. Their clothes were always modest. What they
That's
spent
true.
money on was their home and the education for their children. That was the one thing I learned about them, and not just white people, but black people who weren't black Americans. Like so, the Africans I went to school with, same exact thing. And it wasn't until I got older and I was able to piece all of this together. But it's a real thing. I mean, you know that
I mean,
the lower the income, I know what I'm about to say. It's about disposable income. It's about disposable income. It's not. There's nothing wrong with buying Gucci, Louis, Prada. Nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have the disposable income,
mhm.
meaning it ain't nothing for you to cop that. You don't even got to look at the price tag. You don't need to be buying it. That's why there's certain
Absolutely.
places where the price tag is not even on there because they're like, bitch, if you got to ask for the price tag, you don't need to be here.
Good point.
That's very true. That's very true. And I mean, I think it's when you talk about the other cultures and other communities that are more internationally based, they have a deeper rooted principles. We didn't have those same principles. Our principles were trying to keep up with the Joneses or to not be disrespected and dismissed as being a poor Negro. So we tried to falsify our identification ultimately, and that's the one thing that these other cultures don't worry about. They're worrying about attaining wealth. They're worried about having a better lifestyle and educated children and children with basic principles that we don't walk with as a culture.
So when do you so Ish, what do you think about did you see the video I played?
No, I did not. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you were late. So this is the video for anybody else coming in. Please hit that like and subscribe, super chat, or cash app on the block with Jen to support the show. This is the video I played. This is becoming more and more common. This is a third one that happens in Los Angeles in the past couple weeks. Always the high-end stores like Apple, Gucci, etc. So those are usually black mobs. So when you see something like that, what comes to mind, and why is it mostly black people doing this?
Well, I mean, right now you have certain aspects of criminality in South Central has dropped as far as its strength and revenue. So now kids are going back to jacking, and
Oh, what
that's
kind of
the
jacking?
well, I mean, this is jacking, what we call, they're jacking. They're going through and they're mob robbing these stores, or they're going into the Mid Wilshire, Melrose, Beverly Hills area. They're able to get in and out really quick. They're able to get out of those areas relatively quick because it's just good side streets that you can kind of dip out of and get lost in the fray. So um, that's that's been the big thing right now. That hasn't been a thing in LA's history, of people coming over into other areas until the selling dope and all that just is not really as economically sound as it once was. So now what's economically sound is running into a Gucci store, walking out with about, big garbage bags worth of clothing and then reselling it, at the beauty salons and the barbershops and those different areas. And
Mhm.
that's what's happening right now, you know.
The one good thing is that I used to always complain about seeing people like me destroying their own neighborhood and stuff like that. So I'm like, at least they moved up a zip code. Okay, I'm trying to find a silver lining somewhere. So they moved up a few zip codes, you know.
The problem
Well,
is
there's
that
not.
the problem is that now it's just spreading like a virus because they fuck up their neighborhood and then they fuck up the white neighbors. So it's like,
There's
if they were
nothing left in
fucking
their neighborhood.
right, if they fucked up the white neighborhood and took care of their neighborhood, like going back to other criminal organizations like the Italians, the mob, you wouldn't go. I mean, to this day, you can't go to the Bronx, to Little Italy, and see garbage on the floor. To this day, you can't go to Little Italy in the Bronx and see graffiti on the walls and see women get disrespected like you would in a black or brown neighborhood. It is unheard of. It is against everything that they fucking stand for. So it's like when we talk about, other races and ethnicities, again, in criminal activity, there's just really, really, there's this really savage, barbaric element to our communities. Very savage, very barbaric, I'll add archaic, because it is 2023, and bad economy or not should not result in you acting like a fucking savage. That's my opinion. You
But
don't
you
have
and
to be
you're.
a
I
savage,
agree
bad
wholeheartedly.
economy or not.
No, I
Go
agree
ahead.
wholeheartedly. But you also, when you do a comparison contrast to that, you have, an organized body of men who sat down with certain principles and said these are the things that are going to be able to take place, and it evolved over time and devolved at certain points. But they set a standard for the community, and that's what their intent and purpose was as they were trying to come up in society, because they were ostracized and they had to collectively figure out a game plan and a strategy to be able to be successful. And that was organized, set certain tones of things you can or cannot do in their communities. And they went outside of their community and did, the things that they wanted to do, but they came back and preserved and protected their community. So that's something that we really need to adopt as an identity and a sense of purpose. So I agree with you. Yes, I know, a few of those cats in the Cosa Nostra world, and that they still are
Yeah.
about that. You
Yep.
can't.
Me too.
I've shot films out there. You can't go into their community on no levels. Somebody's checking for who are you, what are you doing, and they're men who sit around, who don't do crap all day, but they sit around and protect the neighborhood. So you
Yep.
know,
Right.
Yeah.
So I have
Fuck
a
around
question
over
for
there.
you, Ish.
go up.
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I struggle with this question I'm about to ask you, so I just want to know your opinion on it. Do you at times feel like our community is just like too far gone, or do you feel like that there is hope? Because sometimes I'm like, God, I mean, I'm not just looking at this. There's so many things that I'm looking at, and I'm like, wow, how do we get this far? Um, as a community. And that's when I really look and like, okay, yeah, that's why I keep coming back to separation, because community as a whole, if we keep doing that, it's just, I mean, there is no hope if we do it that way, from in my opinion.
Before you answer that, Ish, I pinned No Saints YouTube link to the top of the chat. I pinned No Saints YouTube link to the top of the chat. We are going to wrap here within the next few minutes. And if you want to continue this conversation in the chat, you have to go to No Saints page. So go now and subscribe to his channel, because we're going to close up here. We're going to head over there literally in a few minutes, and we don't want to lose the chat. We want to continue this conversation. So we need you guys over there. Ish, go ahead and answer Lily's question, and then I have a question for you as well.
And what's the solution
Um,
if you feel like there is a hope?
let me say this. I wouldn't be in the Nation of Islam if I didn't believe that there was some form of hope. Uh, Number one, like we do have an ideology that promotes that there is an option and there is an alternative solution. I do go through bouts when I'm looking around. I'm like, shh, I don't know how we gonna do this. Let us just pack up what we got here and keep it pushing. you know,
Right.
But then but then you have those moments when with different individuals
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
I'm at,
and different brothers that you
You're
see
breaking up.
a transition in their
You're breaking
lives
up.
when
So
you
what did you
change
say?
how they're thinking.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. No
okay,
Saint,
go back
talk
and
to the alphabet boys. Let them know to stop messing with our transmission, okay?
Right.
The alphabet boys. Leave my boys alone.
so okay. So what was you saying, Ish, or are you frozen?
He's
I don't know how
He's
this
frozen.
frozen.
works.
He's
That's
Okay.
it. He
frozen.
he
So
he took some hits at my boys. They came and froze them.
they came and got him.
And there he goes. Um
Well, listen, to what he said, I remember, and I'm not sure exactly his age, but it's kind of sounded familiar to me when I was in junior high. And we certainly went for the Guess, the Jordache, the Jabot jeans if we could. But the difference was like our parents like, okay, you might be able to get one pair of those because they were expensive. I mean, the Guess and they were expensive compared to like the Levi's, but you didn't want to show up in Wranglers because you were gonna get made fun of. So the pressure's there for kids. At least it used to be. I don't know if it's still
Oh
that way
God,
in
I feel like
school.
there's more. I feel like it may be more now.
oh yeah,
I
Because
could
because
think
see it
about
I
it.
because
mean,
they
no,
wear
they got
uniforms now a lot of
No,
times.
well,
So
no,
I'm
but think about the fact that girls wasn't wearing a full face of makeup in school. Like I'm
yeah,
talking about lashes, makeup. They wouldn't nails out the hair, $200 nails, and Gucci, Louis, Prada. Yeah, like no like it said it'll be Polo or Guess, which was still high at the time. But Louis, Gucci, Prada, like that is somebody who's
right,
making over. That's a six-figure earner who
right.
should be wearing a six-figure earner or more that should be earning that. And even them, they're like, oh, hold on, like they're like you, one pair, one good purse, you
right.
know.
I remember I think Jordache were maybe 35 or 40 back in like the 80s, and that was I mean that was super expensive. You're talking like what? I don't know what that would be equivalent to today, but over $100 for a pair
Yeah.
of jeans.
I mean, you
Yeah,
scroll social media now and you're seeing these kids going in, 5, 6, 7 years old, and the little girls got wigs on. My daughter posted a little girl on her Facebook with a whole lace front wig on. She had nails on. She didn't look to be more than, I would say, 8 years old, and it was her back to school pictures. And she had the little Fendi skirt and the Fendi t-shirt with her fake nails and it. So it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. I think that Farrakhan and the NOI boys, like they're gonna have their work cut out for them. I don't understand why not the separation, to the point where sometimes I think there's an ulterior motive, because I don't, it's nonsensical. At this point, I don't see anyone truly sincerely wanting to excel and still connecting themselves to that type of community,
You can't
right?
even do it as an individual.
Correct.
You can't. Like if you, me, or No Saint, we're trying to change our lives, we're going to have to separate ourselves from the pack that we were hanging out with, because it's a form of insanity. You keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get the same results. Or like they say, if you hang around five broke people, you'll be the sixth. So why does that not compute on a community level to
Hmm.
people? That's weird to me.
I wanted to ask Ish too. I don't know if he's gonna get back here, but I also wanted to ask Ish, like, when do you stop? Or is, and if it's a forever thing, then that's a forever thing. Fine. You want to live your life chasing after black people who don't want shit? Great. Do you. Like everybody has a mission in life, okay? Um, but my question would be, when does it end? We're in 2023, and a lot of people say, when I say, listen, we had a black president, we now have a black vice president, and people be like, just because we had one black president doesn't mean that. No, that's what the fuck it actually means.
You will not take their victim card, Jen. That's what you're not
Like,
gonna do.
that's what it actually means. A black man made it all the way to the presidency in one of the most racist countries, okay? That's exactly what it means. That means that you can go to school without being rich. You can make something of yourself. You can pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And then, of course, people are contradict. No, everybody's not the same. Everybody's not that strong. Okay, you don't have to be president. You could just be someone who doesn't run into Gucci and grab a bag.
That's it.
It could be
That's it.
simple. It could be simple. You don't have to be president or VP. You don't have to be the CEO of anything. But you can be the type of person that just works a regular job and lives a regular life. Because the economy is shit. However, if you live within your means, and by live within your means, I'm going to go even deeper. And a lot of you are not going to like what I'm about to say. If you stop fucking and breeding and having children that you can't fucking afford, that's also living within your means. You know shit is rough out here, yet you keep pushing them out, right? And I said something the other day on Facebook. I said people really think it's a flex, okay? Women do this more than men. Oh, I take care of my 5 kids. I'm always there for my 5 kids. Bitch, you had them. Who's supposed to take care of them? I'm really at a loss when they think it's a flex. Like, I got 5 kids. I take care of my. Who the fuck's supposed to take care of them? We didn't give birth to your 5 kids. Like, they think it's a flex. You know what's a fucking flex? Not having any and not struggling to take care of them. I don't fucking understand when people get online and brag. I take care of all my kids.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not a
always
flex,
weird.
stupid.
I pay child support. I pay my child support. Like,
Who's supposed to
okay.
pay it? And that's what I don't understand. So that's also, forget not buying designer clothes. Stop pushing these kids out, because these kids are way more expensive than a fucking Gucci bag, and they're forever.
Is speaking of kids, did you see JB's comment? He says my students come to school with $200 Jordans, but no pencil and paper. And I
Thank
believe him.
you.
I believe him because I know a lot of teachers and they say that a lot.
I'm gonna see if I can get that picture from my daughter. She posted this little girl had a lace. No more,
I've been seeing a
Lily,
lot
no
of it
more than
though.
8. No more than
I've been
8
seeing a
years
lot
old.
of it.
You made me think of something with, listen, when I was, I don't know, 19 or 20, I was this person, I'm making my own money. And, Jordans, when they would come out, I looked at them like, I am not spending that kind of money on Jordans. So I bought Jordans were on sale, right? I think they were, I don't know what year they were, right? So I got them for like 40 or 50 bucks. I'm wearing them over to my friend's house, and his little brother, black guy, his little brother couldn't have been 8, 9 years old, said them Jordans been played out.
It's the mentality.
But for me, it was like, for me, it was a pair of shoes. I'm like, I can afford these. These are like 40, 50 bucks. I'm not paying 150 bucks for no damn pair of shoes, But it's just funny that me remembering that, like this little kid was already into what was in and what was out.
Because it's the conditioning, it's the indoctrination. It's like that is how we raise our kids in those neighborhoods. Oh my Vegatron says my black classmates tore me up on Facebook for joking about not having kids. Well, I salute you, sir.
Right. You know what's funny when I saw him comment that? Because there's times I've wanted to comment and post about me not having kids and the reason why. But I was like, I don't feel like going back and forth with folks because they're gonna get offended, and I just don't. I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I'm in the mood, right? So I was like, I'll save it for when I'm in the mood. But people do get offended because they know it's true. Like, your life is harder because you have children. Like, it is. And you see me get up. I can get up
vouch.
and go. Right. I can get up and go on vacation right now after the stream if I feel like it. I don't have to answer to anybody. Right. So, and that's one of the many reasons why I chose not to have them. I really sat down and thought it all the way out. My brother, he sat down and thought it all the way out. The conclusion he came to was, hey, I want children, but I want to be financially stable. Number one. Number two, I want to have children with someone that I'm planning on spending my life with. That's just the way I want to do it, right? And that's what he did. He waited till he was, I think, 34 to have his children. He had them back to back, like, Irish twins, whatever they call them. But I admire that as well. So yes, like plan it out, like think it out,
Yeah, so I'm like, It's the ignorance and what we think is a flex is absolutely asinine. We are at the hour, so we're gonna run over to No Saints channel right quick. Everybody in the chat, we are going to No Saints channel. I pinned his YouTube link to the top of the chat. Please go up there right now and subscribe to his channel. We are on our way over there right now. I'll shoot Ish a text and see if he can make it over there with some better reception. All right, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe on your way out of our door before you get to No Saints store. Lily just dropped the link again at the bottom of the chat. It's also pinned to the top of the chat. Go on over there right now. We want to see your beautiful faces and your attitudes and your comments over on No Saints channel. We will be back tomorrow. Just a reminder, On the Block with Jen will be 1 hour now. And then the after show will be either Lily's page, or Haran's page, or No Saints page, because we want to spread the love for a couple months. All right, guys. So we'll see you on No Saints page.
See you there.
Good night. Well, good night for On the Block, but we'll be over on No Saints page. Meet me over there. Go, go, go.